This is a 2021 Ram Promaster Winnebago upfitter, and this is the left rear blind spot module, and it came to us after a wreck. They had replaced this with this one and double-sided taped it to the bumper because the bracket was missing and broken off. They took this one, grabbed the part number, went online, ordered this one off eBay, stuck it in, and had codes. So in this module it gave a VIN mismatch code, and in a BCM it gave a B10AA-4A incorrect configuration code. So I was checking it out, tried to do the proxy alignment, it kept failing. I've checked all the wiring is intact. We had an issue with the tail light. The brake light wouldn't work, which turned out to be one of the screws for this screen here, right here. So I guess this harness runs up here, runs behind there, but when we took that one screw out, it started working. But in doing so, I checked all the wiring up and down here and didn't find any issues with any wiring here. So I knew the wiring was good, but I took the lab scope and I checked all the communications on this, power, ground, everything was working. The only thing is when you would run the proxy, it would say that this control module needs to be aligned but has not requested configuration. And then the next step would say that it was configured correctly, but it was still trying to do the proxy. And then at the end, it would say impossible to communicate with this module. And it would still always throw the B10AA-4A, and it would never do the proxy. And according to my friend at the dealership, these blind spot control modules are one and done. Once they have a VIN programmed into them, they cannot be reprogrammed even with the Y-Tech at the dealership. So once they're programmed and they have a VIN in them, then they're done. So this used one, which is obviously already programmed, that somebody sold as off of wherever they got it, a parted out car, obviously already had a VIN programmed into it, so it will not work. It will throw a VIN mismatch code in this module, and then it will throw the incorrect configuration code into BCM, and you cannot reprogram the VIN. The only way to do that, I would think, would be if you could find somebody, or if somebody can find a way, and I'm sure maybe somebody does it, to virginize this module. Take it back to new, blank out the VIN, and then you could have it programmed in. Which is another thing I ran into, because we went and got this one here, ordered it from the dealership. This is the brand new module right here, blank, no VIN. Doesn't come with this pigtail. This is just a pigtail from underneath that I pulled out with it. But this module comes blank, no VIN programmed into it, and my autel Maxim 608, my snap-on, the newer snap-on one. We just got it like less than a year ago, so it's kind of new. Can't do it, and my launch can't do it. Autologic probably could do it over the air, maybe, and program the VIN into it, but those other three modules can't do it. So I'm gonna have my buddy at the dealership do it. He's gonna program the VIN into it. They can do the proxy alignments. I was able to take this old module, plug it in, BCM code disappeared, VIN mismatch code disappeared. Well, the VIN mismatch code disappeared with this one because there's no VIN in it, so it can't have a mismatch, but the B10AA-4A was still in the BCM, obviously, because this is a new one. It hasn't been aligned and there's no VIN in it. So without the VIN in it, it doesn't complete the data check. But I could take this one, which apparently is still intact but busted up, but the connector and the board, it all seems to be intact. And I could plug this one in, and every code would disappear, and I could complete the proxy alignment. No issues. Now, there's a difference between the autel and the snap-on. The snap-on will go through and say, proxy is good, everything's fine, yeah, complete. But it would still throw the code and nothing would happen, nothing would change. The VIN wouldn't get programmed into the new module. So it actually has to be programmed first and then the proxy second. But the autel Maxim IM608 would say that this is requesting this needs alignment but doesn't request configuration, and then at the end it'd say it's impossible to communicate with this, and which I'm assuming is because there's no VIN in here, so it's not, and it can't program the VIN. So once the VIN is programmed in it, then you can do the proxy, and then that with a new one should get rid of the B10AA-4A. But just as a warning, if you get a wrecked one, or if you have to replace one of these, used ones will not work unless you know somebody who can virginize one, or you can virginize yourself, or you're going to buy one that's been virginized, if that's even possible. But if you replace a busted one with a used one, it's not going to work. The VIN mismatch codes, you have incorrect configuration code in the BCM, so you need to buy a new one, get the VIN programmed, and then do the proxy alignment, and then you shouldn't have any more codes. These are located on this ProMaster. They're located right here, right here, and there's a bracket that's glued onto this piece here that holds these that they snap into. So I don't know if you, like they did on this wreck one when they tried to fix it, and they put this double-sided tape, if this tape is going to interfere, because it's got to go through the tape and then it's got to go through the bumper, and you know, it's not configured for going through this tape. You know, sometimes the modules they put on the front of the grill, they say if they get too much paint on them or whatever from being repainted, then they might get messed up because the thickness that the radar has to go through is too thick. So I don't know if that would have been the case with this, but you can order those brackets and you can glue them to that to fix this, I believe. Because they said they ordered one, so we should have one coming. So it looks like they have these little clips on the bottom, and they'll clip in and lock into the thing with the 2 screws. So that should fix that. So if you have a busted one, remember, used one's not going to work. They are supposed to have a bracket. They don't just glue to the bumper. And you need the VIN program and then proxy alignment. So if you're running into this issue and you can't figure out why your new one won't work, or if you can't figure out why this used one with the exact matching part number won't work, it's because they're one-time program only. So they can't be reused on different vehicles, which is kind of crappy unless, like I said, find someone to virginize it or figure out how to do that yourself or something. But new one, VIN program, proxy, and you should be good. Alright, I hope it helps out.